If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
How the fuck did that bring you to that?
Well, it has to be eggs.
Alright, eggs then, I guess. I don't like eggs, so that'll be hell, but I guess so if it has to be.
Sorry. I didn't mean to put you in this position.
Well, now I have to eat fucking eggs forever. Kill me.
Is that really your $1 million question? You were talking this up like it was gonna be so cool.
Well, I think it's funny.
It's worth exactly 1 million, George. Exactly.
Okay, I'll think of a new question.
Alright.
Disclaimer! Crossing the Line is not a show intended to bully or harass anyone. Do not go out of your way to find or mess with the authors featured on our podcast. They make what we do possible, and we love them. And you. Thanks. Enjoy.
How many...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crossing the Line, a fanfiction podcast where we read, review, and critique exciting fanfiction for your entertainment purposes, pleasure, fun, etc. As always, we have the usual cast here: Eli, Virgil Vlog, Steven, Blue Breed, G-Pool, George Rooney, Duty. How you fellas doing tonight?
You know, hitting the stacks. We're 60 hours into this RPG we've been working on, and that's pretty cool.
I've been working on.
He's been working on. How far do you feel like you're into this game realistically?
About halfway. Maybe a little more. It's no secret, it's Digimon Next Order.
It's a shame Metal Edamon should just be the final boss, man.
He might be, I hope. It's over.
He's a mega, so he's pretty up there.
Yeah.
I'm playing this game at my house, which means that I'm subject to the game equally. But, what was the percentage of people that have gotten past the first area? Like, less than...
Yeah, there's like... You get a trophy just for completing the tutorial, and like 60% of the people that played the game have it.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty rough. It's like... It's very... I think you'd do it better justice to speak of, but it's very, like... It's very grindy and slow. It's got a very steep initial learning curve. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of... I think when we first started it, we kind of had to come back to it because it just seemed so, like how is anyone playing this game? It's so, like... so difficult to get started, but and some reviewers were having no trouble and were just like, what's the deal? But it just requires a lot of effort to break that curve.
Right.
It takes a lot of knowledge of the original PS1 Digimon World game, but at the same time it reinvents a lot of concepts that have nothing to do with the original Digimon World game, so it's a thinking man's strategy RPG.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited to get through it. So I'm actually what am I working on now? I'm almost done with Nier, and then I'm probably going to play Ni no Kuni 2. I like the first one a lot, but my save file corrupted around 50 hours into, and I was just like, I'm not going to put another 50 hours into this game. I don't like it that much, but now I've got 2 to work on later this year.
I got you.
Steven, what have you been playing, if anything?
Playing Sonic Battle, pretty much.
Sonic Battle?
Sonic Battle on Game Boy Advance. I've been replaying it because I haven't played it in forever since I was like 7, and it actually held up pretty okay. I'm surprised.
That's always nice. I'm reading Dragon Ball right now, like Dragon Ball Z, the whole thing. I just got to like the mid-center of the Android arc, and it's giving me some appreciation for the series and the pacing. It really moves pretty quick and like fluidly. Now that I'm not watching this like stinted thing,
Right. Yeah, I can imagine.
So this is the Spyro episode.
Oh yeah, Spyro.
The Spyro episode brought to you by Agent 9, my least favorite Spyro character.
Agent 9? Who's that?
He's a fucking monkey with a gun. He's that guy.
That is not him.
That is him from the newer games. That's his old form. Because that's his remodel, George. He is bad.
This looks like a pitch to a Cartoon Network in the 2010s.
It's a
9s.
Yeah.
2000s. I don't know why I gave it 2010. This looks like Chicken Little level CGI.
Yeah.
Spyro the Dragon is a platform game developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. The game was released for the PlayStation in September 1998. The first game in the Spyro the Dragon series, it stars the title character, a young purple dragon named Spyro, and his dragonfly friend Sparks, who venture through the Dragon Kingdom to rescue the other dragons from a spell placed by the antagonist, Nasty Nork.
Yeah, I'd say the original Agent 9 looks like fine.
Yeah.
It fits the game. He's very colorful.
Right. What about this one?
DeviantArt one?
Yeah.
Why does he have a knife? This is an audio show, Steven.
That's the 9 in Agent 9. That's his ninth
the original
weapon.
Agent 9 is like a colorful space alien looking monkey character. And then it goes like full like early 2000s CG with like neon blue and white and brown. Poor fur textures. And then it looks like that Animals Connect game Xbox 360 had.
It does.
The most recent one.
Yeah.
And Steven sent one from DeviantArt where he's got a knife.
Goodness
and his
me.
gun, which I would argue is more important. It's also firing a bullet.
It is large.
But anyways, what's everyone's experience with Spyro?
Just pretty much playing Season of Flames on Game Boy Advance. I played the old ones on PlayStation, but I played them at a time where I wasn't like a big fan of PlayStation and whatnot. I didn't really think too much of them, but it's cool that it's coming back.
Yeah, I played the Season of Ice, and so it's basically the same game on Game Boy also. One of my first Game Boy Advance games when I was little. And then I was like aware of the PS1 games. A lot of my neighbors had a lot of PS1 games.
Right.
To me, they just sort of seemed like platformers. And then later I picked them up on the PS3 store in like 2000, probably 8 or 9, like a little bit after the PS... No, it must have been later, but like as soon as they were on the PlayStation Store on PS3 pretty much. I played the first two then and a little bit of the third one. But
I got you.
I was fine. I was a little bit like spoiled at that point in terms of platformers probably.
Right.
I played like the best of the PS2 era ones, and I was just kind of like whatever. But like, it stood out pretty well for its character design. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, definitely it stood out at a time where everyone was trying to make human more realistic, and pretty much it stood out for that because it took a more stylized approach, unlike a lot of other games.
I fully completed Year of the Dragon without a memory card and spent probably 100 hours in the skateboard segments.
Good old skateboard segments.
Oh boy.
And now they are doing a remaster on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which is why we're doing this episode.
Yo.
Do you like Spyro? I hope so. Click here for more info.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of Spyro on the internet. It's a good time to talk about it.
A lot of people draw them, and they do them a lot better than like any of the other official art from like PS2 up till now.
Yeah, but to be fair, that's how like it is with a lot of things, though.
Looking through the fanfic for this, there's a lot of like steadiness throughout the 2010s because of Skylanders, and then like the TV show, I guess.
Right.
Like, just in general, just there's been a lot recently.
We tried to watch an episode of Skylanders Academy featuring Crash Bandicoot, but the comedy is just non-existent, and the pacing is very hard to tolerate. Also, Spyro's voice is way more mature for the character he plays.
I tried and I succeeded, and I can affirm that it wasn't worth succeeding. I like how there's one villain who's voiced by the same voice actor who does Billy from Billy and Mandy, and he sounds like a suppressed version of him. There was actually one joke that did actually land, and it was like surprising. So in this episode, it's the entire premise of the first episode is to talk up the arrival of Crash Bandicoot, who leaves the series the same episode. So essentially the first episode is like that friggin' fourth Powerpuff Girl episode of the friggin' reboot Powerpuff Girls show. But anyway, the episode's basically about, okay, let's talk up Crash and make Spyro a fanboy of Crash for some reason. So there's a segment where Spyro starts imitating Crash, or at least trying to, and he sees Crash doing his spin attack through grass, and so Spyro tries to do the same thing, but he walks on all fours, so he gets up on his hind legs and he like stumbles, turns around, and falls off a friggin' cliff immediately. And like the way they made that, it was actually pretty funny, but aside from that, the comedy was pretty like, they were trying, but the execution wasn't there, pretty much.
Yeah, that model wasn't meant to stand on two legs.
Agreed.
I played a little bit of the very first Skylanders game when it was new. I had a friend who was a really big fan of Spyro, and he was like my neighbor, and so we were both really excited, or he was at least. It got me hyped up, and it was like, it wasn't so focused on toys at that point to where you could like, there were only a few toys out, so we kind of just had all of them, and we just played like the PvP versus mode for a while, and it was pretty fun. It was sort of just like a janky Power Stone clone with Spyro characters.
I see.
Quote unquote Spyro characters. It was fine. I don't think at that time I would have had any idea of what it would explode into. I don't know if Skylanders is still going. It might be. It might have died off in the last couple of years, but
yeah, Imaginators was the last of new one, and they haven't really put anything out. I don't even think they're in major stores anymore. If they are, they're very limited quantities of like the figures. Which I believe is why Spyro actually gets the remaster at this point, because he's no longer like shackled to that series.
That's true. For those of you who didn't know, I'm sure these two know because they're more into the whole gaming thing than I am at this point. I've been away from the gaming community pretty hard at this point, but nonetheless,
you shut your mouth.
What'd you say?
How do you think you are?
I said I've been away.
Some kind of gamer?
I mean, yeah, but anyway, early on in Skylanders, before it was just Skylanders, it was Spyro in the Skylanders, and it was talked up to be Spyro. He was their namesake character, so he was the only thing to really get it for, really. But yeah, it did. I'm impressed that it actually did get off the ground, and it is cool that they actually did manage to expand off of Spyro, but not my thing.
They dropped his name. In the very first game, I remember when I was playing with my friend too, he pointed out Spyro wasn't the center character on the cover art box. He was like off to the left.
Yeah,
was really weird, and it was kind of foreboding for things to come with the series.
Yeah.
Spyro and his epic girlfriend Cinder.
Yeah, I was just about to say, when you're looking through these like fanfics, even if Cinder plays no major role, Cinder is always included in all the fanfics.
That's a shame.
It's kind of weird because she's not like part of the original games, is she?
She's part of the new.
She's up in the reboot.
The newer games.
The Legend of Spyro.
So I guess the generation that was making this fanfic didn't really have any experience with the original ones, or didn't care enough to write it about those.
That was like late PS2 to mid PS3 era.
Yeah.
And now the Dawn of the Dragon game or whatever is like $50, which is like ludicrous for PS3 standards.
Is it?
That is.
I don't know. Is it?
Let's look. I guess there was a film called Dawn of the Dragon Slayer, which is making this hard to look up.
Dawn of the Dragon PS3.
Yeah, it's definitely more expensive than you'd think.
So I'm looking up just pictures of Spyro because I was interested in what his reboot design looked like, because I remember how it looked, but I haven't been reminded of it in a while. Spyro hasn't really been all that relevant for a little bit, but I came across a random fun fact about Cinder. Let's see here, where did it? In the GBA version of The Eternal Night, Amaze Entertainment mistakenly labeled Spyro and Cinder as siblings. So that's it. So that'll be interesting, depending on which fanfics we picked. But, so, yeah.
I hope Cinder doesn't show up in mine.
Oh no, one of mine is labeled Agent 9.
Oh. Oh, great.
Speaking of fan fictions, who would like to get us started today? Steven, what do you have prepared for the class?
Alright, do I have to read the description?
You don't
Or do
have to.
Or just go to? I'll read the description. Max Tennyson reflects on himself during his cameo in a remade version of Spyro You're the Dragon ending cutscene. For those of you who don't know, Max Tennyson is Grandpa Max from Ben 10.
Yes, everybody knows that. That's a common household fact.
Everyone's favorite character, Max Tennyson.
Yep, good old Grandpa.
I mean, considering how many reboots there've been of Ben 10, I don't doubt it.
That's a fact.
Everyone's been afflicted by some aspect of Ben Tennyson's life.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Steven, what's your favorite Ben 10 alien?
Gray matter. I like his design. It blends the
What's your
tradition.
favorite Ben 10 alien?
God, don't put me on the spot like this.
You should have known this was coming. On the Spyro podcast.
He has a point, Elias.
Like, no, you know what, that's not true. I know most of them. I like Cannonball, because he's just like... He has like the Sonic Spin Dash.
Yeah,
I
like him because he's just like a big Yeti-looking motherfucker with shoulder pads.
I like the Diamond guy, too.
Oh, that's
Just
true.
because he can like shoot diamonds out and he has like a sword for his body, basically.
Yeah.
He's like the equivalent of number 1 in One Piece.
Right,
Number
right.
2. Which one's the sword guy?
You mean the Barrack Works?
Yeah,
It's Mr. 1.
Mr. 1. Yeah. I like that about Mr. 1, too. Come on, George. You should have saw that coming on the Spyro, the podcast.
Let's see. One Piece, Benson. What else did we talk about? Forget it. Steven, you wanna
Steven,
take
save
this
us.
off? Take this away. Save the podcast. This is
All
why we don't have
right.
any views.
Alright, man, we're gonna have so many tags. Let's see here. Spyro 3. Alright, here's the cutscene. Spyro 3 cutscene. A familiar face. Spyro is at Agent 9's lab, talking to the professor and Allura, who had appeared as well for no reason. Agent 9 was patrolling behind them. Also, Max Tennyson from the Ben 10 2016 reboot was making a brief cameo. God
Agent
damn
9's
it.
got a gun to his head, his little boy head.
That show didn't come out in 2016.
They come out every year.
Yeah.
That was like 17 at the earliest.
The 2016 reboot. Let's see here. Let me see when this was published. Oh, they don't give a year. It's just February 27th. Okay.
Maybe that was this year.
Maybe,
Sure
yeah.
enough.
That was
Okay, doke.
2016.
I guess so.
How
Oh,
was it
yeah.
around for that long?
I guess Ben 10
It's
still
actually
has a lot of
referred to as the
polls.
2016 series.
Oh, okay. Alright. But, anyway,
It's the
so
little boy Ben 10. It's the littlest little boy Ben 10 all so far.
the littlest and the Gwen version that I want to loot the most.
Looking around.
Steven, she's the smallest one.
I know, she's only crotch high. That makes it better.
Oh my god. She looks like a Gravity Falls character.
Exactly.
Oh, that explains it.
She actually
Yes,
looks.
I've seen her. I've seen every episode. I know.
Why have you seen every episode? What do you guys do with your free time?
What do you
Watch
mean?
Cartoon Network.
You guys have seen some horrible things.
Hey, you hush about our fucking 2016 reboot, okay? It's so funny.
I miss the Loud House.
Me too. It's been like, I don't know what, it just kind of fell out a little bit. It's had new.
Stephen Reed!
Alright!
Wait, I love the Loud House.
You do not!
Welcome
You
Change
never
my mind.
once stood up for our Loud House marathons.
Elias, you wanted to turn off those live streams so much. You said, I want to go to sleep. I can't watch the Loud House. I
The
got
Loud House in my house at 3 in the morning!
I got
Expect!
I
Get
gotta
ready to be loud!
I gotta get up at 6 in the morning and open up. Ooh.
It's so loud!
Alright. Max Tennyson.
Dodging girls like ping pong balls just to reach the bathroom on time.
Time. Leaping over laundry piles, diapers you can smell for miles. Guy's gotta do what he can to survive.
What he can will survive.
In the loud house, duck, dodge, push, and shove. That's how we show our love. Gotta love
I do not love anyone.
Hey kids, look at our newest addition to the family, Inspector Loud. I do not like this family.
That's it, I'm going first. You lost your privilege to go first.
Alright, fine.
My story begins. What a great day to smoke weed, sighed Snoop Dogg, lighting up a doobie. Just as he was about to sit down on his novelty marijuana leaf couch, he heard his Wiz Khalifa ringtone go off. The weed demon sighed deeply, grabbing his Nokia. Now, who could be calling me at 4:20 p.m., he said.
Weed demon.
Throwing his blunt at the window, he checked the front screen, which read, in all capital letters, mind you, Spyro, which made him excited. Faux shizzle,
God.
That's my nizzle, exclaimed the ganja guru, flipping his phone open. Yo, Spyro, what's happening, cuz? Hello, Snoop Dogg. I caught my tail on fire and I need you to take me to the vet, explained Spyro to Snoop Dogg. Wow, that's embarrassing, cuz. I'll pick you up as soon as I can, offered Snoop. Thanks, Snoop. Please don't tell anyone. Spyro ended the call. No problem, said Snoop Dogg, not realizing that Spyro already hung up the phone. Snoop Dogg put on a clean shirt and freshened his braids before getting in the car to pick up his friend Spyro. Upon arriving, he parked his car in Spyro's driveway and got out. He knocked on Spyro's
driveway.
Yeah, this house. He knocked on Spyro's front door to a hip-hop beat. Spyro knew this was Snoop Dogg's special knock. However, he still cracked the door first, as he was very embarrassed. Come on in, Snoop, he whispered to Marijuana Mogul. Come on in, Snoop. Snoop Dogg walked in, and Spyro revealed to Snoop Dogg his embarrassing predicament. Damn, cuz, your tail's on fire right now, still, said Snoop. Shh, I know, hissed Spyro. This is a big problem.
Oh my god.
It's okay, insisted Snoop. Snoop Doggy Dogg is gonna take you to the vet. Snoop Dogg rolled a giant blunt that was as big as Spyro. That was as big as Spyro and lit it on his tail. I will smoke this later, thought Snoop.
He already lit it!
He's gonna lay it safely in Spyro's house when they leave.
It's just gonna go to waste.
This is great.
Spyro slowly walked outside with Snoop behind him. Meanwhile, Snoop was covering his tail so that the neighbors wouldn't notice. He covered his friend until they got to the car and began their journey to the vet. Snoop Dogg was weaving in and out of traffic to the beat of Ignition Remix, which was playing on Weed FM. It was not smart to do this because there were still cars in the way, even though it was a good song, and Snoop hit a police car.
Oh my god.
Oh no, moaned Spyro in a very whiny way. The officer's gonna find out about my problem. I'll save you the embarrassment, cuz, said Snoop Dogg, turning into Snoop Lion.
Do not tell me I just hit another reindeer.
He reached into his pocket and pulled out the giant blunt that he lit on Spyro's tail earlier. Then they both hotboxed.
Come again? Pardon?
Then they both hotboxed the whole entire car. The weed smoke was so thick that the officer could not tell that Spyro's tail was on fire.
Where are you finding these?
Snoop Lion and the police officer exchanged insurance information and they were on their way.
The police officer exchanged insurance information?
He had to prove he was a real police officer.
He's really insured.
Thanks, Snoop. That was a close one, said Spyro.
Oh
Don't
my
mention
God.
it, said Snoop, reverting to his original form. Snoop Dogg was now back to bobbing and weaving through traffic to the beat of Freak a Leak, which was much more effective. This cut their expected drive in half, and they arrived at the vet in no time. Well, here we are, said a miserable Spyro. Don't worry, cuz, reassured Snoop Dogg. They sat down in the waiting room, Spyro hiding his tail that was infulged in fire. After 26 minutes, the lady at the front desk called out, Spyro? Spyro stood up, now unable to hide his tail that was now very much on fire. Everyone in the waiting room stared at Spyro and his tail. This is terrible, whined Spyro at Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg felt embarrassed to be seen with Spyro at this point.
He is, oh my god.
Hello, Spyro, said the doctor. Hello, Dr. Moneybags, said Spyro.
Dr. Moneybags.
The doctor is Moneybags?
Ew!
I'll cure your tail for 300 doobies, Crash. Spyro, I mean.
What seems to be the problem today, asked Moneybags.
What
Well, I caught my tail on fire, and now it is on fire, explained Spyro. I see, said the doctor, examining the affected area. Let's not jump to conclusions, though. First of all, I'm going to have to give you a routine pet owner drug test. Okay.
Oh,
No.
Snoop Dogg squints at the doctor, like, hold on.
I really don't like thinking about PS1 Moneybags' model in like blue scrubs.
Oh no.
Spyro's like, oh no, we just hotboxed the car.
Oh man.
Dr. Moneybags handed them 2 cups to the friends and sent them off to the bathroom. What are we gonna do, Snoop? Exclaimed Spyro. We're gonna fail the drug test. So what? We smoke weed, said Snoop Dogg in a philosophical tone which convinced Spyro. They handed in their full cups to Dr. Moneybags. Well, it appears you have failed the drug test, said the vet, frowning.
Yeah, of course they do.
This is the next one that got me.
It appears that you failed the drug test.
Just peeing out smoke.
Darn, said Snoop Dogg.
Darn.
Dr. Moneybags ran various tests on Spyro and came to the conclusion that he had probably caught his tail on fire and that it was actually on fire. Here you go, Spyro, said Dr. Moneybags. This is a prescription for medical marijuana. Spyro thanked his doctor after paying him 500 gems and left the office with his friend.
God.
He prescribed you medical marijuana, said Snoop Dogg? That is cool.
After they were smoking illegal marijuana.
I don't like how friggin' Snoop Dogg's just like, it's okay, we smoke weed in a philosophical tone.
Dude, we smoke weed, ain't nothing to be worried about.
Don't
They went
worry
to the
about
pharmacy and picked up the medical marijuana. Spyro smoked the medical doobies every day at 4:20 p.m. with his friend Snoop Dogg, who made him lots of Gets Well Soon cards. The miracle herb soon helped Spyro put the fire out in his tail, and he felt a lot better. Thank you, Ganja, Spyro whispered through his tears. And that was the whole story.
Man.
The comments are like a slant face, like the dot and then a slant, like a
Right.
forward slash.
Right.
And then it says, I like it. And that's it. Wow.
God.
What an inspirational story.
That is.
I'm glad I cut in line to go first. That was really good.
Yeah.
I would rate that 500 gems.
Agreed.
I would rate it 420 gems.
Elias, I have to agree with you. 420 is a pretty good number for this.
I'm gonna blow my nose. I was tearing up a lot reading that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Blow your nose.
It made me get mucus.
I guess we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Da, 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 da.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Cook with Rich and Jax. In this show we explore one of numerous failed attempts by one corpulent ghost player to drag himself out of obscurity and into the mainstream YouTube media scene alongside his milky broad. Watch as the duo cook numerous dishes including store-bought froyo and fucking milk with blue food coloring in it. Gags include, Rich and Jax cannot cook, so they buy it at the damned store. So come on over to Let's Cook with Rich and Jax today, and look at Jax's damned tits. I mean Jesus Christ woman, you could feed an entire Walmart with those puppies. Good lord those tits, good lord those tits, I just want to lee.
I couldn't decide on between two. They're both pretty short, so what I want to do is read one of them, then Steven, you can read yours, then I'll go back and do the other one. Does that sound cool?
Sounds good, sounds good.
And I'm gonna start with the one that has less ratings. So,
Alrighty.
there we go. Alright, here we go. Oh god, this is written in like Sanskrit.
Oh man.
Like, hold on. So you can kind of see like it's written to like be like, you know how they do the characters where they say their name and then do that, but it's just all
Right.
in a one paragraph.
Oh shit.
Alright, so let me give this a shot. The king. Okay, look, I'm sorry, but I'm going through a Donkey Kong phase, and I wanted to return to this story. It was one story, but it just took poorly written because I started the story during high school. Let me remind you all, we here at Crossing the Line read verbatim for your entertainment pleasures.
Indeed.
In my junior year, I was beginning to get a better grasp on how I tell my stories. I'm changing a couple of things to make it more interesting so it doesn't get boring. Now I'm changing this because it is a really young story that it was just starting out. I'm either going to remove some of the stories or come to them in a later date. But I will never go back to the first Legend of Spyro Minecraftian ending.
I wouldn't either. Doesn't sound
Yeah.
That story is one where anything goes, and I threw stuff at the wall to see what sticks. The first story is too complicated for a rewrite. There was a scene where Spyro turned to Dark Spyro, and there was a Guitar Hero version of We Three Kings, and at the time I wrote that I didn't know it was a Christmas song.
What do you think it was? That song just go too hard, you didn't know?
Yeah, that was weird. But it was better to Edna mode it, as in, never look back, darling, it distracts from the now. So yeah, this story is not going to be like that one because it's not, okay? I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. Anyway, here is LOS The Kong Wars. Also, more depth will go into this, so if I sound like I'm Shakespeare or the super ego from Sam & Max Season 3, you know why.
What a weird reference.
And just
I was
to let
about
you
to
know,
say-
whenever you see music in quotation marks, it is best to listen to that music to help you envision the scene or something like that.
Oh shit, guys,
Copyright,
here.
we could probably put it in. That'd be pretty funny.
That would be.
Actually, from what I can see, scrolling through, there's only one song. So hopefully, Forest Interlude is just like a Spyro soundtrack, and we can put that in.
Yeah.
No, when we get there.
Also, I didn't know going in that the king was the author's what he calls himself.
He
Right.
calls himself. Yeah, because he's the king.
Okay, but that's not actually his pen name, so or his
No worries.
yeah.
Right.
All right. Of the many tales told about natural enemies, only a few have the audacity to leave a permanent mark within the pages of time. The rise of tyrannical kings and rejection of races resulting in grand battles between such forces, and in the process of such fighting takes countless lives away from this world. Strategic plans going awry bringing problems to said groups that are trying to keep their wits about themselves and implementing uneasiness into their society. Thus leaders fall into uncertainty and hide themselves away from what they have brought upon their people. war has divided many within both sides, questioning if what they are doing is the right thing, while others are left wondering what they did wrong in the first place. External involvement is a critical role, as it may bring even more pain to the internal affairs, but if done right, brings closer to the victims of the ordeal and spark better relations with one another. Still, the final aftermath of these feuds are bleak, but deep within its shadows shows how desperate one is to go as far enough to at least show a sign that they could gain a foothold, hold themselves up, and regain the recognition and respect that they once lost. This is one such tale.
Wow,
Oh man,
it's deep.
we're in for something.
Yeah.
Our tale begins on a swampy, hazy island that juts out of the sea at an angle. The calls of numerous birds echoed throughout the dense old tree, few lacking any leaves that instead had moss or fungus growing on the side. Several slanted trees form a makeshift shelter. Inside was a fire pit producing a poor, weak flame. A large figure sat at the bottom of one of these trees, with his head down, looking at a bowl full of random mush and stale water. He sighed and took a swig of the bowl and gagged it and coughed. The bowl was immediately poured out afterwards in response to the taste he had endured. He laid back against the tree, looking up at a hole in the shelter's roof. A seagull perched on the rim of the hole, looking in on him for a few seconds until flying off. The fire began to die and the shelter got darker. The figure quickly scurried over to the pit. He placed several leaves and bark into the pit and blew. The fire started to gain strength again and grew. As the room brightened, a rock across the figure appeared. On this rock sat a gold ballpoint crown studded with emeralds and rubies. The figure's reflection in it showed his left eye swollen and bloodshot. He stared at the crown for a minute, then closed his eyes and tilted his head toward the ground. From those that once showed greatness to their people, now show the sign of misery and rejection. The figure life is the byproduct of both. This is Crusha K. Rule.
Crusha K. Rule, great.
And that's it. That's all.
That was
That's all
sad.
I've got.
4K rule.
Yeah, honestly, a little disappointed. Spyro didn't even show up.
Go to his
Right.
page and
Right.
see if he already more.
I want to read the description. This is a complete rewrite of the Kong Wars. After years of fighting the Kongs, the Kremlins no longer serve King K. Rool, who was left to die alone in the wild. But after the numerous outside forces coming in, the existence of the Kremlins and the Kongs are put at stake.
Shit.
I didn't expect Spyro to not be there.
It happens. Other one.
Alright, well, in that case, I'll just gun right into this one, and hopefully it's a little more joyous, more fanfare in the comments section about it, so...
Yeah.
There's one comment that says you should use periods, so I'm looking forward to reading that, I guess.
Oh shit.
Alright, here we go. Spyro's War. Spyro was a purple dragon involved in a war no one could win entirely. Spyro woke up in the forest. He got up and realized the war was over. Spyro looked for Cinder, but remembered he had a dream with the elders of the elements saying she was dead. Okay, he really does not use periods.
No! Holy
Cinder,
Cinder.
our possibly related love interest.
My sister!
So I'll just try. I know I just said about the verbatim thing, but I'm gonna try to actually put them periods where they should be.
Nah, man, you gotta just keep on talking as fast as you can.
How did this guy write this with no periods?
It's all lowercase too, so he just like.
Oh my
type-
god.
Jesus. This guy's
Jeez.
like a modern Stephen King.
Hey.
As if Stephen King isn't still writing books.
Spyro then decided to not be a part of the civilization anymore, so he decided to hide. He saw history unfold in front of him as the world wars, etc. happened. A chemical got launched, turning most animals into anthropods, most of them anyway. It also affected Spyro having a human body, but he was still a dragon. In parentheses, no skin.
Oh!
Gross.
Ew!
What does that mean?
God.
No spiky scales, maybe?
He's a human body, but he was still a dragon with no skin.
Ew. God.
I can't even imagine.
Last time he checked, they still taught the kids about the war with Malfor. When Spyro walked down the street at night, he saw a chicken in her early 20s getting attacked by 2 masked men.
In her
Spyro rushed
early
in to help.
20s.
A chicken in her early 20s.
She was
God.
probably hot.
True.
Spyro rushed in to help, and just in time, too. They pulled out knives and were about to slash her, but wasn't able to. Spyro knocked the two out, and realizing that he was sort of naked, took the hoodie and jeans, put them on quickly, and helped the chicken up. The chicken's name was Chica. She told Spyro he introduced himself.
Oh,
But
no.
when she looked shocked at Spyro
dear.
being here, she fainted because she was saved by a real hero.
You're
So
right.
did he come onto the scene naked?
He's
No.
naked with no skin.
Yeah, but that's just like something that happened when the story began.
I guess.
He needed
Yeah.
clothes.
Probably
They beat
happened
these
in the
people up and
war.
Stole their clothes.
It just happened in the war. They took his scales.
They were
took his
bullying
skin
Chica.
off and put him in a human body, and then they took that skin off.
Haha, that'll teach you, dragon. Fuck you.
When she woke up, she was sitting up against the wall, Spyro on the other side, making sure she was okay. Chica said to Spyro, "Hey, do you have any place to go? Because Freddy might be able to let you stay for what you have done for me. He might let you stay," Spyro replied. "I don't really have a place to go, and I would like to, but it seems sudden." Chica stayed happy, chirped at Spyro to come to see if Freddy would let him in. They headed down the street until they reached a small street of houses. They stopped at 5 Night Street. 5 Nights at Freddy's in parentheses. When
God.
Chica knocked, in parentheses, because she doesn't have a key.
Chica definitely doesn't have a key. in
She went
parentheses.
out and got mugged, and she wouldn't even be able to get home.
God.
A brown bear with a bow tie on opened the door and looked shocked at Chica because of her bruises and cuts. Spyro waited outside testing his abilities to see if they worked. Fire worked great, even better than before. His earth, electricity, and ice still worked, so did his dragon time. He can slow down time.
Spyro's just in the background over there. He like opens the door, says hi to Chica, and Spyro's like 10 feet back there shooting fire and using magic.
Spyro's using all of his most powerful spells.
Making a
scene.
Making a God.
Meanwhile, Chica spoke to Freddy and the rest about what Spyro had done. They were shocked it was Spyro, but glad he saved her from being killed. Then 5 minutes later, Freddy came out and sat next to Spyro, who was making a crystal appear in a flower. Freddy watched amazed, but spoke to Spyro and said that he is welcome to stay. Spyro was grateful, but decided to get some sleep, so when Freddy showed up in his room, Spyro said thank you and slept on a very comfortable bed. Is it easy to listen to this?
Spyro said thank you and Phillips.
Yeah.
Slept on a very comfortable bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was
Next
comfortable.
day,
Very comfortable.
It was
Spyro
comfortable.
woke the next day to the smell of fire. Spyro looked out the window, seeing it to be sunrise. As he got up and went downstairs to see everyone except Freddy sitting at a table. He walked down from the stairs to see the bunny and Fox locking shocked, and food dropping out of Foxy's mouth onto his plate. Spyro chuckled and asked if he was allowed to eat yet or not. "Hey, Cheeky, am I allowed to leave the house?" Spyro asked.
Am I allowed to leave this house?
"Sure, we don't own you, so go ahead. Just don't go killing people," Chica chuckled at him. Last bit the bunny and Fox still staring at him. Spyro left to feel the fresh air on him. Luckily there was a forest nearby, so Spyro flew to the forest to hunt for food. When Spyro found something to eat, it was a deer. Spyro snapped its neck and ate it and laid a bit of meat on the carcass.
Chica told you not to kill anything, Spyro!
She said,
He's
"Don't kill
hungry."
anybody. He can kill as many deer as he wants.
I like how she said that, and then the other two animatronics just stared at Spyro without saying a word, and then Spyro left.
They were probably A-posing.
They knew what he was gonna do.
He sprinted all the way to the forest, saw a deer, grabbed it by the neck with his mouth, and just like shook it around until its neck popped off.
He has magic, he doesn't need to do that.
Why didn't he?
does. He doesn't do it because he needs to. He does it because he wants to.
It'd have been funnier if he just friggin' rammed them with his horns like he does.
If he used his pumpkin firaga.
He used his friggin' Snoop ganja.
He used his gravira and stopra
He used his gravira and flattened the deer to dust.
into a comical 2D image.
And he flicked it up.
Goodness.
Spyro decided to clear some land about the size of a football field and build ice dummies.
What?
And started to test some ability.
Spyro!
He decided that, or did he do it?
Oh, I'm just gonna do.
No,
I'm
he's
just gonna.
doing it.
That's a lot of room. What the hell?
That's 100 yards.
Spyro deemed 100 yards in the forest his territory and cleared a football field.
Let me just fucking
Ice dummies.
Spyro commits deforestation. My god.
We built ice dummies and started to test some abilities on the dummies. After a while, Spyro walked down the street to see a burning building. Spyro tried to see if anyone was in there. He couldn't see from the smoke and ran, and countless firefighters tried to stop him, but they failed. Spyro slowed down time to see where he found a little girl about 5 in her corner. Spyro picked her up and gave her to the firefighters, a bit of his snout scaly hand showing. Spyro found 3 more people in the building and let the firefighters do the rest. They were grateful. Even though they thought he was an idiot for running in there, Spyro noticed the ash on his clothes and decided to brush it off. It didn't work good, so he just let it be and continued along.
Oh yeah, Spyro's still a human.
Yeah, he sure is.
Yeah.
Wearing clothes.
Not
Okay.
true. Spyro would never freeball.
Nah, he would only deforest.
With his human body.
God.
When Spyro went back to the forest, he found a cave. Spyro remembered a dark feeling from down there, so he decided to sneak down there. When he saw a whole room of convexity crystals. Spyro had an evil side. If he played the games, he has a really dark side.
Wow.
That's in parentheses. Spyro saw a glimpse of those creatures from the war. Spyro didn't want to get too close left and decided to head back without making a few crystal flowers. In parentheses, imagine a flower made of crystals that glows.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
Spyro grabbed 4 before heading home and asking them about the forest. Hey, what do you guys think? What do you guys know about the forest? Spyro asked Chica. It was the first one to comment. It was a very ancient place. It had been there since the war you were in, Chica said with a small chirp at the end. I know, thanks, Spyro said and left upstairs.
I know,
Thanks
thanks.
for reminding me about the war I was in.
No, I was forgetting the war for a second there. Thanks,
Remember
Chica.
Remember that
said
time
and
you were in
left
a war?
upstairs, but remembered the flowers and placed them on the table. Everyone was shocked just because they would be sold for lots of money. Spyro went into his room and decided to have a sleep while everyone was downstairs talking about the new threat to a group of an unknown enemy from Spyro's time. A very big enemy. This enemy is number 1 wanted in the world, but they are too powerful to be defeated. Spyro fell asleep and had a dream of. To
Oh
be
my
continued.
Whoa.
Author's note. This is a new story. I hope you enjoyed. I decided to do my 2 favorite games. I am accepting OCs, so review them to me and R&R. Thank you. I would like to thank King Stripe
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
for inspiring me to
Yeah.
write, and I hope this was a good chapter. It was interesting. I am typing on iPad, so :P. I hope you enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.
Oh my goodness, somebody typed that on an iPad?
God.
That is some real middle
Ex-
school shit.
I need to
That
lay
explains a lot.
Well, Steven, you've been, I guess, cleared of your...
Am I?
I don't know.
Am I allowed? Am I not banned from fanfiction.net anymore? Can I open the tab now?
Yeah. I've told my funny story.
Are you sure? You sure I can't send more pictures of Agent 9 to the chat? I've found quite a few.
I love Discord.
Steven,
Yeah.
do my story.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's I guess the best way I would describe my reaction to it is I like a lot of the elements that it brought from like a ironic standpoint. I friggin' just the fact that Spyro was in a war, then he got in a human body, then he went and friggin' met Chica in the Five Nights at Freddy's gang, and they ultimately only served the purpose to give him a house and remind him of his PTSD.
And he was free balling.
And
That's
Chica
true.
said, "Don't kill anyone," and then he immediately went out and killed a deer and mauled one.
And
And
millions
he looked around
of
in the forest.
And made an entire football field for fun.
as a naked human Spyro.
He's not naked anymore.
He beat up those burglars that were hurting Chica and stole their clothes.
He turned into Paul Bunyan.
Yeah,
He
he turned
cleared
into Paul
it.
Bunyan.
What?
He committed Paul Bunyan deforestation.
He stole a plaid shirt and turned into Paul Bunyan and cleared a forest in one fell swoop.
That's not okay.
I know. I would rate it 9 out of 10 bunions.
I would
I
rate it
think
the
that's
going
pretty
price
okay.
of one of Spyro's flowers, which is like $2 probably.
They said it would sell for a lot.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
Just
true.
Take a sleep.
Mm.
Then in my opinion, that story was going for a lot. Had a lot going for it.
It's a shame
Yeah.
they didn't finish it. I wonder if they learned punctuation. That was
I
very
hope
hard
not.
to read. Anyway, we've been really teasing the crowd about this excellent Max Tennyson story. You better not disappoint, Stephen.
Let's see here. Wait a minute. It's only one chapter. Okay. I thought there was 2, but alright.
You wish.
Alright, so Spyro was at Agent 9's lab talking to the professor and Alora, who had appeared as well for no reason. Agent 9 was patrolling behind them. Also, Max Tennyson from the Ben 10 2016 reboot was making a brief cameo behind them. He was paddling in the...
He was making a brief cameo behind.
Better not be the whole crossover. Whoever this man is, he knows how to get those tags.
He does. He was paddling in the water around the area near the platform. Spyro, Agent 9, and Alora and the professor were
Dog
standing
paddling on the
on
lake outside.
around them, yeah. It's a funny thing, Spyro, said the professor. I adjusted Avalar's portals to take me to the Dragon Worlds, but somehow I ended up here. Maybe my coordinated tables are out of date. By 1,000 years, Spyro said, to nobody in particular. That would explain why the book was so cheap, the professor said. So, Alora said to Spyro, now that you're done saving the world again, are you going to visit me in an Avalar? Sure, Alora, Spyro said, but I still have to find the rest of the eggs and, well, Hunter has disappeared again. Agent 9 heard Spyro. Did you say Hunter? He asked. He became excited. Wow, hey, I can help. I just saw him sneak off with. The professor cleared his throat suddenly. Agent 9, he said. Isn't that a Rhinoc over in those bushes? Agent 9 flared up like a firecracker and became as hyper as Mac from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends when he eats sugar. A Rhinoc.
I love that episode.
Me too, me too.
Remember that?
Yeah, man.
Put the whole
Yeah.
episode in audio wave right here.
In the background in low friggin' volume.
No, we're just gonna pause the podcast for I think that one was a 2-parter, so about 22 minutes.
There we go.
We gotta get that ad revenue somehow.
God, I
Each-
wish we had ads.
When he eats sugar. A Rhinoc. Oh, let me at him. He prepared his laser blaster and raced off, shouting, You want a piece of me, Rhinoc boy? Eat laser, punk. Come on now. No fair hiding. Whilst that was going on, Alora grinned a little. Spyro shook his head in
Agent 9
disbelief.
shot first. first.
I shot a real gun in Spyro.
Why not?
Yeah.
Lives matter.
Agreed. Spyro shook his head in disbelief, and Max Tennyson, still making his cameo, rolled his eyes. I'm sure Hunter is in good hands, the professor said. Alora quickly kicked him in the shin, causing him to correct himself. I'm sure he'll turn up soon. Promise you'll come visit Avalari soon, okay? Alora said to Spyro. Spyro waved goodbye and left, and Alora and the professor walked into the level's door portal. By the way, that portal is where you can return to Spyro in the friend level, and choose to leave or not. Alright, and now we're...
Remember that, kids, for your playthrough.
Yeah, man. Alright, and now we move to Max Tennyson's point of view. This was a big...
Get out of here, cameo man!
What does he see in this situation?
This was... This sentence is good. This was a big day for me, Maxwell Max Tennyson.
Is that it? Is that it's back to Spyro? This is a big day for me.
I'd been asked by a big TV studio to help with filming a video game cutscene. And the best part was, I got...
He's literally a stand-in extra.
He's just swimming in a circle around them in a platform.
He's filming,
And
he's doing his job.
And the
He's
best
a real
part...
plumber.
He is. And the best part was, I got to star in a cameo role. I was with a crew worker, getting ready for my cameo role. Okay, the crew worker said to me, take your shoes and socks off, roll up your pant legs, and an intern will get you into position. I did just that.
Hello?
Get in the water. He's got to keep his feet, his shoes dry.
Water.
Yeah, the water...
They're gonna take pictures of Max's feet and put them on the internet.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, that is...
Max'sFeet.com.
Smacking him with a ping pong paddle.
Square feet.
I did.
I've never had my feet tickled for money before.
This is gonna be a great day for me.
This is a big day for me.
A big TV studio helping me film a porn.
It's not porn, it's culture.
Alright.
It's on
I did.
Nickelodeon, it's okay.
That's right.
Oh wait,
I
Ben
did.
10's on Cartoon Network. This is not okay.
You blew the ad sponsorship, now they're never gonna sponsor us. I don't even know the first thing about Ben 10.
I know
It started when an alien device did what it
I know his
did.
name's Ben.
It started with the big day for Maxwell Tennyson.
It's a big day for me. Ben turned 10. Ben's 10 years old today. Now we can start Ben 10.
Finally, I've waited so long for Ben to be 10. I've waited 10 years for this joke.
Slant rhyme.
Hey, Ben.
Funniest joke.
Ben, give me your wrist. I'm gonna weld this watch onto it. We'll have a
This
show.
alien device to do what it did. Give me your wrist, Ben.
I did just that. I undid the laces of my shoes and removed them. Then I pulled off my white socks to let my feet breathe. Then I rolled the legs of my pants up and handed my shoes and socks to the co-worker, and an intern escorted me to where I was to be. Somehow or other, I heard the crew worker say something quite offensive about my socks, like how bad they smelled, saying, "It's like these haven't been washed in a whole summer." It is true.
Take that man down.
It is true. Me, my grandson, and his cousin, we sleep in our clothes on board the Rust Bucket at night. I remember...
It's a matter a fact. It's true.
It is true.
Our clothes on.
I will not hide it. My footstick is part of me.
This is
a shower. I'm not paying for one.
You know how hard it is to get water to run through a recreational vehicle?
yeah.
I know
Listen.
the options there, but I've never bothered to figure it out. My grandsons don't mind.
You listen here, you little shit. This isn't about my socks. This is about my big day.
You know what they say about a man with big socks? Big day.
I remember one time when Ben's parents complained about how my clothing smelled. They said words so inappropriate I'd hardly dare to say them. It might set the wrong example for my grandson and his cousin. I really don't think the crew worker was very nice.
My grandson and his cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it not
Yeah.
also...
Yeah, that would be his granddaughter, wouldn't it? He's like outing her like she's not really part of his family.
Married
At
to
least
the family.
Oh my god. I really don't think that crew worker was very nice about how I smell. I really don't smell that bad. The intern pointed me to the set, which had water on it, and some sort of tropical cliff, and some sci-fi building on one end of a round platform. It looked very amazing to see. The intern told me to go to the water, and the scene would be ready. I wasn't sure. I had never done this before, but being the good sport I was, I did just the same. The minute I put my bare foot into the water, I instantly felt goose flesh on my body. I put my other bare foot into the water. I could also feel the water coming up my skin. I could feel my toes curl. My bare
Like water.
It's a foreign object to him.
This felt bad.
My big day ruined.
This is all just a ploy by Ben and what's-her-face, Gwen, to get him to... This is all a ploy by Ben and Gwen to get him to bathe.
We got a big gig for you. It's gonna be a big day.
Wow, I love those.
I do love big days. Oh. Finally, an episode about me. My bare feet felt...
hero of the Spyro story.
My bare feet felt like they'd stepped into ice water. Technically, ocean water feels exactly like that. The intern guided me to my spot as I waded through the water. I ain't used to paddling barefoot in water, especially ocean water. You never know what's in that stuff. Crabs, glass, rocks, anything that could hurt your feet. I always wear beach shoes. I reached...
He never takes his socks off.
I always wear beach socks. You should also wear regular socks.
I always wear sandy socks.
He's hotboxing the entire studio with his socks.
With his feet stink. I reached the spot where the intern told me to go. I gave a thumbs up to let the crew know I was ready. They got the filming started. And action! I could see that there was a dragon, a mole in scientific clothes, a fawn, and a monkey in space-age clothes on the platform I was on. It seemed they were talking about something portals and dragons or whatever. I can't tell if they were actors or not. Do I know what's best for my grandson and his cousin? At times, maybe. Sometimes, maybe not. Was it that I granted to discipline Ben and Gwen by leaving them with a wicked nanny supervillain? Maybe people say because of that I must be a bad parent figure. Or is that a bad grandparent figure? I did make a promise to Ben's parents that I keep my grandson safe on the summer road trip. But really, I never planned for Ben to find that alien device, the Omnitrix. Nor had I planned for him to create that monster at Niagara Falls. nor to cross
Grandpa
paths
getting
with
existential on this film set.
This is his point of view!
This is a very interesting story.
I agree. Nor to cross paths with that weirdo Tim Buck 2, or steampunk villain Steam Smythe, or for me to get cloned by the Bug Brothers. The water rushing in between my toes, it almost makes me think of the World of Wet water park Ben and Gwen told me about. I was quite unhappy that I wasn't able to come there, you know, but when the flu hits hard, it hits hard.
But water's water, and I don't like water.
They should have known I wouldn't accept the invite.
I'm not the same man without my signature musk.
A man's gotta protect his musk.
Yeah, remember that, guys.
Chicks dig the musk.
Yosh. It hits hard. A Rhinoc! Oh, let me at him. You want a piece of me, Rhinoc boy? Eat laser, punk. Come on now, no fair hiding. Now, I think that monkey is acting odd, saying something about a Rhinoc and racing off. That could be... Without context, that sounds really bad.
Hey! Max Tennyson would never say such a thing.
That's true. He's better than that. Why?
He is
I don't
accepting
know.
to all individuals.
Except for water. Why? I don't
If
know.
you made a water, Max Tennyson ain't gonna say a word, do you?
Why? I don't know. And I don't plan to. I do not even believe such a creature exists. I never really like rhinos, by the way. Those horns make them look weird. Is fate justified in anyone? Could it be fate that my grandson would find that alien watch? Could fate be true that I nearly always get myself into life and death situations with my grandson and his cousin? It feels like a full-blown midlife...
He does not like Gwen one bit.
And his cousin. It feels like a full-blown midlife crisis to me. I mean, my hair's turned gray, my belly's popped out, but at least I still have some spirit and agility and physicalness in me. I'm not a member of the intergalactic organization, the Plumbers, for nothing. And cut! That must mean they've ended. The intern had helped me remove his shoes and socks, and waded through the water to me. He guided me to the dry ground of the set. I stepped out of the water and stepped onto the dry ground. It felt quite cold on my... It felt quite cold on my soaking wet feet, but I was glad to be on dry ground again. The
What
crew
did he
worker...
do? Just stand there?
He waved around. He was making a cameo. They said he was making a cameo.
This is his... George, this is his big day! Come on!
He's
gonna
just making
cry.
a cameo. His cameo was to wade around in like ankle deep water in the background of the Spyro cutscene. Duh!
The crew worker handed me a towel.
You did great work today, son. Proud to have you on board.
How was your big day?
Wow, what a big day.
Hey, when you get to be that age, anything like that is exciting.
That's fair.
I get to be on the boob tube? Sign me up. What do I gotta do? Take my socks out? I don't know about that. Get in the water?
How deep? Ankle deep?
Oh, I gotta
How-
think about this.
Soap! Oh no 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 no!
You didn't say anything about soap.
I'm tearing up my contract right now.
I can't really be. Me and soap don't hang. You know this.
We don't hang, Chief.
Fucking red soap, red circle of death. You get that away from me. The crew worker handed me a towel to dry my feet, my shoes, and socks. I gratefully took them, but I still wasn't pleased about what he said about my smell.
He doesn't understand a man's musk.
Pops is holding a grudge, my god. As I sat drawing my feet off, I felt glad. It seems like I, Maxwell Tennyson, had done a good thing for Hollywood, regardless if it was a cameo or not.
He holds himself up pretty high.
Author's note. Wasn't that satisfying? By the way, what Max said about the World of Wet Water Park, the same one where Frightwig was, is the reason why he didn't appear in All Wet. I like reboot Max Tennyson, though some people state otherwise. Some people said David K. makes him sound almost like a hippie. Anyway, I think he was such a great guy, and if I had to choose between his two voice actors, Paul Edding and David K., I'd choose both. I think those actors could do voices for Tom.
Choosing between them.
Exactly. I think those actors could do voices for Thomas and Friends. I know Paul Edding could voice Duke the Lost Engine. David K. could voice
Thomas
other
the Tank
foreign.
Engine?
Yes, he could voice Duke the Lost Engine.
Why did you get lost?
David K. could
Not a good
voice.
actor.
David K.
They're trains!
In a direction.
They can't go far!
They also can only go in one direction.
David K. could voice other foreign engines, or maybe even bow for upcoming
David K.
Thomas
could
special.
Get lost on a train track for all I care.
You get lost in one direction train track.
Or maybe even bow for the upcoming Thomas special, Big World, Big Adventures. Do you think Grandpa Max's voice could be in Thomas and Friends? Read and review. And
Do you
cut.
think Grandpa Max could be in a Thomas and Friends cameo?
Leave your comment in the description below.
Leave
Do you
a
think
review.
Grandpa's voice? Oh my god.
That wasn't anything at all said it would be, but I'm still happy with
That was
it.
such a good story.
I agree. That was like short, sweet, and to the point. I love it.
That was like, gosh.
I would rate this story a man's musk because it's very important to someone out there.
That is
Rate the
2 out.
story, An affordable, clean, and well done plumbing job.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna give this story one big good day, because that's what it was, man. That was a big day.
It was a big day and it was good.
Oh man, that was neat. Woo!
Wow.
I had fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty burnt out. Those are all really good stories.
I agree, that's pretty good all around.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope these stories gave you a good laugh. Had a strong start and a strong ending. Overall, it was very fun. I think we all like Spyro very much, and I'm gonna speak for everyone else here that we're very excited to play the Reignited trilogy when it comes out in September.
Absolutely, it looks awesome.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, I hope you guys have a good big day.
And a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
It's not Christmas!
I didn't know it was a Christmas song until just recently.
Chapter 3. Spyro just stared down at Cinder with hungry eyes, while Cinder was convinced that he was fooling around. She said in a voice that was merged with chuckling, "Spyro, you can get off now." But Spyro just stayed firm. Then he got into a sitting position, right on Cinder's back legs. Cinder...
Like a dog?
Yeah. Cinder winced, and she
Sitting on her
said,
back legs.
"Okay, now you're just freaking me out. Get off, Spyro, it hurts." Through all that, however, he didn't budge an inch. He just kept staring at her face with hungry eyes. Then, however, he lowered his gaze to a part of her that he had effectively exposed. As Cinder realized what was going on, she began struggling from beneath Spyro, shouting, "Spyro, get off me!" Spyro then leaned in.
Spyro, get off me! No, no, no.
I'm trying to diffuse the situation because this really looks like a rape scene, and I was not ready for this.
We'll see.
Spyro.
Let it go.
Spyro, get off me. Spyro then leaned in and lip-locked her, while also... Still, she wasn't satisfied. She wanted more, and she said in her... He thrust his tail inside Cinder's rear...
That's all I got, baby.